I want to know.
For a start, thank you all for coming and supporting us. We really appreciate it. I'm a bit nervous tonight because I'm sitting next to her. Why did I cheat on her? Well, I have no clue. It was in the script. There's not a chance in the world I would do that. No, but it's funny. You have no problem with me wanting to sleep with Athelstan. As soon as I see a pretty princess, I'm the bad guy then. But no, we tried to have kids prior to this, and I felt like my character thought it was a sign from the gods that we lost a baby. And I think Ragnar's all about his legacy. He wants as many kids as he can get, and wants them to be proud of him and follow in his footsteps. And I think that's the main reason. But it was certainly hard for him to do it.
Yeah, I mean, look at her. You don't need anyone else. Now, we also have some fan questions mixed in, and this came from Facebook. This is from Fagin Forum from Massachusetts, and this is for Katheryn. How will Lagertha respond to Ragnar's infidelity? She's an incredibly strong woman, but seems to love him deeply.
I think she needs to kick some serious ass.
Chose the wrong brother.
Hey, wait a minute. No, I think Lagertha obviously has always been and probably will be in love with Ragnar. And I think you'll have to wait and see how she ends up finding out the news in season 2. I do know it was hard for her, but her sense of identity would be tested, and it would be interesting to see how these circumstances makes her a better person or a different person in one way or another, especially since her whole life has been attached to Ragnar as farmers, as earls, so as the shield maiden. So it'll be interesting to see how she deals and how she struggles with her own, who she is as a person.
Okay. Yeah, we cannot wait to see that.
I
do think she's probably going to kick some ass. Definitely.
Yeah.
So Clive, we know that Rollo is going to fight against his brother, but brothers know a lot of things about each other. So what is Ragnar's greatest weakness, and how can Rollo exploit that?
Well, one man's weakness is another man's strength. And I think that brothers are kind of two sides to the same coin. So the question really is, I think Ragnar's very much like a tornado. He's mercurial and unpredictable, whereas Rollo's more like a volcano. He's volatile, on edge and can erupt at any time. So the question is, what happens when a tornado meets a volcano? There's going to be a lot of people in the middle there that are going to
I don't think that was the question.
But I don't think it's about exploiting weaknesses. I think it's just come to a point where Rollo can't be in his brother's shadow anymore. And there's only one choice to make in Rollo's eyes. But it's going to have a detrimental effect. It's going to have a negative impact on many characters in the show. And some people aren't going to come out of it as happy. But you kind of think you want to know, but you don't. You're going to have to wait and see.
We'll just get a lot of wind-blown lava.
You might learn a little bit from the little clip we're going to show you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the clip. We'll get to that. So Jessalyn, Siggy has had probably the most tragic season of any character. She's lost her husband, her children, her position in society, but yet she seems like someone who really does have this strong sense of self and direction. So what direction does that take in season 2?
Well, sadly, the decline continues. But it's good because there's just more ground to cover when I come back. I mean, the way I think of her is, I guess the way that you described her. I mean, she has an identity that's independent of, or maybe that was formed by her family, but that still exists in the absence of her family. And I think she comes from a tribe that was, she really believes was the legitimate regime. And so, you know, she has an incredible drive to, in my eyes, I'm not going to speak for Michael, I can really only speak as an actor, but the way I think of it is, you know, I want to get back up on that chair. So I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get up there. Oh. And I mean whatever I
We cannot wait to see that. Gustaf, there's really no other character. There is no one else like Floki on TV, right? Nobody. How much like Floki are you? How much do you bring to that role?
Not enough. Like, I hope I'm not as fucking crazy, but I'm pretty fucking close. Well, Floki, I mean, it's an incredible character to play. It's so fun to play because the freer I am with the character, the better it gets. Because he is a free spirit and he's nuts. So it's just a matter of like, you know, giving the inner ball a good spin and then kind of like letting go of all social barriers that I have in my mind and just fucking go for it. And it's fun, you know? So yeah.
Fun to wear that eyeliner. Does that help you?
Huh?
The eyeliner, Floki's eyeliner, does that help you?
Yeah, it does help a bit. You know? No, I like the old guy liner. Me and Tom McInerney, who's the makeup artist, a brilliant guy. We were kind of like working out in the beginning. How are we gonna, you know, set this character? It's true. Like they actually did use black, you know, eye makeup back in those days. So it's not like something we made up. And then we just took it, you know, a bit further. Yeah, that's fun. It's trademark.
Well, people are wondering how much of a Viking Athelstan will become, George. Maybe we'll see him in eyeliner, maybe not. But we have a fan question. This is from Allison Isabel. And she says, do you think Athelstan would ever become a full Viking? Or would he always carry ties to his past as a monk? So what's your take on that, George?
Sorry, I just want to say one thing, but I won't. George is dating somebody, one of the actresses. It's up to him if he wants to say it.
Travis, George and I are keeping that a secret, please. It's okay, baby, go ahead.
You want to take my question or Travis's question?
I'll take yours. What was it? No.
Who are you dating? No. Do you think Athelstan would ever become a full Viking?
Well,
Stunt monk.
no, like Michael said, the characters, all of the characters in season 2 have really difficult choices to make, and I think I can say that I'd be quite disappointed if it was very easy for Athelstan to become completely Viking, and I'm glad that Michael has taken the writing where he has done to a place where Athelstan has to make some really, really difficult choices. And the most interesting characters to play are ones with deep conflicts within them, and I'm just pleased that Michael has decided to carry that on. And so, yeah, the answer is it's can be difficult, very difficult for him to make that decision.
Yeah, it's a pretty tempting world, isn't it? The Viking world.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, but he's a very religious man.
Okay, we'll see. So, Dirk, history got into the scripted world with Hatfields and McCoys, And now your first series, Vikings, is shooting season 2. These guys all flew in from shooting to see you guys today. So what was the most surprising or unexpected thing for you about the series Vikings?
I'd have to say that the most unexpected thing for me is this room full of people. We've had lots of shows that do, really good ratings, but never really at this kind of level of engagement from this passionate viewer. And it's not just here at Comic-Con, it's like on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and I'm following all these things and I can't believe it's not just, talking about the show, but they're engaging with the real history, and they're discussing it, and they're debating it, and there's fan art, and we have very active. There's somebody on Facebook who goes by Viking Drummer. Oh, there she is. Oh, She does like recaps of the episodes, and people, are now like following her. I've personally never been involved with something that has this amount of energy and interest and depth of passion around it, and I just want to thank you all. I'm just blown away by it.
So. So people are becoming curious about the entire era beyond what we're seeing in the show, which is amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we thought, we had an opportunity to do in doing these scripted dramas is bring interest, through this entertainment, piece to the subject of history, and we're watching that happen. Some of the things we're posting on the Facebook page are like artifacts, things that have been discovered, archaeological finds, or things that are Viking related, and while we're making a fictional sort of story, the authenticity is there, and the research, and how much effort goes into the costumes and the boat building and the homes, and that bringing that interest potentially to the subject of history to a new generation of people, I think, is an exciting thing.
Right. Well, yeah, Michael, yes, you've been working with these Norse myths, you've been adapting the story. And something that is really important in the original Ragnar stories is the story of his sons, the story of his children. And some casting news has come out, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it, that Alexander Ludwig is going to be cast as Bjorn for season 2. Tell me about the children in the show and why casting with them is so important.
As Americans, you like to say that family comes first, or that family is essentially important in your lives, and it was the same is true for Vikings. And the Vikings, the whole families fought in the Shield Wall together. They lived and died together. And it was one of the things that I wanted to say about them, one of the things that humanized them, one of the things that made it possible for me to make them the central characters of this drama, that they were like you and me in a lot of ways. The historical Ragnar is famous because one of the reasons was because of his own exploits and his own discoveries and daring and so on, but he bred a lot of sons, and his sons became very famous in their turn. When Ragnar died, finally his sons declared war on the whole world, which is a rather wonderful thing, I think. One of the things that was important to me was that this is a story which is about adventure, and it's about battles, and it's about visceral things. It's also about families. It's about family life. We started out by seeing Ragnar with his family, and it's very important to me as a writer to embed the audience in the family life of the characters. So it was important for me that the audience got to know Ragnar's children and got to care about Ragnar's children and follow them through. Now, the problem, I suppose, as a writer is that he had a lot of children and you know, you can't spend 9 months every time, you know, gestating each one. However, as a writer, I can't. But I think you'll agree that Bjorn, Ragnar and Lagertha's son in the first season, was beautifully played and a wonderful character, and you could identify with him. So he certainly wasn't going to go away. Now Alexander's going to play an older Bjorn. The historical Bjorn was very important character too, but it's the family dynamics which are very much at the heart of the show. The rivalry between the brothers is very natural, it's human. The sons and daughters and the tragedies and joys of family life, which, as I say, humanize the show for me. And I love, I don't know, it just makes it this great thing for me about this show is it's about reality. It's not a documentary, but it's about real things, for a start, things that actually happen. And it's about real people and human emotions. They just happen to be dressed up as Vikings. So the children are always as important to me as the adult actors. And yeah.
Right. Well, we also see a lot of pagan rituals in the show. The rituals really take us into this world. So, Travis, we have a fan question for you from Julia Novella. And she says, in episode 9, why did Ragnar cut his hand and wipe the blood along the wall? And you remember, you guys, he was lying in bed and he had the dagger and he cut his hand and he said, Odin. So, tell us about that. Why did he do that?
It's not that it was a ritual. I think it was a lot of self-loathing about what he's about to do. And he's sort of punishing himself.
You mean to go?
To cut himself, yeah, to go.
Go ahead.
He's doing a very bad thing.
Own it.
Player. No, yeah, he was certainly upset about what he's doing, but he thought he was doing the right thing by the gods. And no, he really thought he was doing the right thing, but he still hated himself for doing it. And I think the blood on the wall was had something to do with the miscarriage, you know. So it was sort of symbolising that, and probably something to do with what she'll do to me when I get home.
So good.
It's like.
Well, I mean, we've seen Lagertha fight for many, many things, Katheryn, and most recently she tragically lost the battle to save her daughter's life. So what will she fight for in season 2?
Oh, wow.
I'll take it back.
What would she fight for? There's so much. Michael Hirst is so great at writing and evolving our characters and enriching us. And there's so many. What I can say, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, so I'm going to maybe dance.
Michael will leap over and stop you.
Who she is, you know, being a strong shield maiden, and that's who she is as a core. So, in terms of her personality, and definitely her relationship with Bjorn is tested. Obviously, her relationship with Ragnar, and where, since there is a time cut, which, since we know our son is now older, so it'll be interesting to see what life brought to her, and how, if she is different, or if she's stronger and weaker in that situation. But I do say with all the strong female fan base there, I'm in love with Lagertha, and it's been such an honor to kind of make her as strong as possible.
And it'll be interesting to see her more mature. She's a great character. Now, Clive, I'm going to give this question to you. This is a fan question from, it looks like Raspberry Whirl. Because you seem like a fun guy. So what are the days on set like, and how do you spend your free time during filming?
Wow. I personally, I have 3 children, so I have to make up for the time I spend away. So a lot of the time I'm kind of either flying back to see them or they're on set. So I spend a lot of time getting down on the carpet playing cars and dressing up as princesses.
Playing princesses? Is that
yeah, I got a warrior princess.
You play a warrior princess?
She's a princess.
Did Katheryn give you some tips on like maybe some shield maidens?
She's a little shield maiden. She can't dress up as a princess unless she's got a shield and a sword in her hand.
I like that. How old are your kids?
I've got a 10-year-old boy, Hayden, and then my daughter Evie is 7, and then I've got a little cave boy who's 3, but together as a cast, there's so much to do in Ireland. We tend to kind of, obviously we go out drinking because it's the best country in the world to do that. But we've got a place called the 40 Foot, which is just outside Dublin, which is you can dive off into the Irish Sea. So we'll all go swimming, and it's just an incredible place to go hiking and do all those good things. And I hope to do a bit of scuba diving this year as well.
So who's the biggest drinker?
Oh. No comment.
All right. Okay. Jessalyn, where's Siggy's love life going in season 2? Will she have one?
I don't know if I call it a love life, but she definitely is going to be busy. Sorry, Clive. Well, I just learned about the children, so. It's so fun to listen to. It's always fun to hear your colleagues talk about their roles because it's always sort of enlightening, even though we watch the show as fans as well. And one of the things I really love about Siggy is these guys are all the next generation. These guys are all, like Katheryn and I have some great things this year because of Ragnar stepping out on her, and she's obviously their emotional attachment their love is so pure, and it's so devastating to her, and it's been so interesting because I think Siggy's got a kind of, she's from an older order, and it's kind of like, girlfriend, what did you think? I mean, he's an Earl, that's what they do, and so it's a completely different perspective where these guys are sort of have all this hope and all this ambition, and then so their relationship to love is even so different and their expectations of it. And so far I haven't seen that Siggy really believes in a romantic love anymore. And relationships are opportunities. And so that's what I've seen so far. Is she capable of true love again?
That's what you've been playing?
Oh. Except I really love Rollo, like a lot. Yeah, so it's kind of sad because everybody else does have this. I do think that she loves Rollo, but I think that she will always stay, or so far has stayed in control of her emotions because there's just no way she's going to make herself vulnerable the way I think some of this new generation of the Lost Books do.
Well, speaking of going back many Viking generations, Gustaf, you are the only cast member who is all Viking. You are Swedish. So, when you were growing up, how was that Viking legacy depicted in school or society? Was that part of your education?
Yeah, like we do get to, like in school, we get to know like the gods and all that stuff. However, I think like a lot of our Viking heritage is just something that we take for granted, It's what we are. So like, there's a bigger deal about the Viking legacy like in Ireland than it is in Sweden. If you go to like the tourist street, yeah, sure, you'll find like a plastic hat with horns on it, even in Stockholm. But there's plenty more of that in Ireland, really, because I think like it's what we are, it's what we come from, it's our history. you know. And we do study it, but I think like the biggest legacy now, it's just us, you know. It's in our language, it's in our genetics, it's just a part of our culture. It's, you know, whenever we celebrate Christmas, that used to be, I know pagan tradition, midsummers, we still like keep to the same traditions, but now it's like under Christian banners, so to speak.
Right. Well, George, you had to do a bit more preparation because you are not Swedish. But for season 1, you personally visited Lindisfarne Abbey, where Athelstan was actually kidnapped in the raid, the actual spot. What did you do in preparation for season 2? How did you prep for that?
To be honest, I tried very hard to grow a beard. The same as these guys.
It looks good!
It took me about 5 times as long, but yeah. No, I've been doing some Viking stuff this year, and some fight training. Athelstan's been doing some fight training, yeah.
Oh, really?
Who knows what for? But yeah, and I'd say it's my first television series that I'm a part of, and probably the biggest challenge I've found this year is, as a teenager growing up, you watch American television series and you kind of binge watch it if you can, and the end of season 1 finishes and you just click next and watch the start of season 2, and it's exactly where it was left off, and you don't think when you're watching it those actors or the creative team have had 7 or 8 months between seasons, and it's a really interesting thing for an actor to pick up a character after 8 months off and really get right back into that role. It's especially if the characters are on an arc, like most of them are, that Michael has written, where, you know, they're in such stages of development and change. It's really a good, fun challenge to kind of wrestle with that and get your head around that. I'd say that was probably...
So you did the fighting preparation, so we will see Athelstan perhaps doing some new moves.
Some new moves.
Okay, well, in addition to some new moves for Athelstan, Dirk, we have some new locations, don't we? Can you tell us about any of the production locations that are different or sets that are different, Dirk?
Yeah, I mean, there's been quite a few this year. The locations team had a really good fun time. Mostly, they found them in Ireland as well. They just keep discovering all these new places that never knew existed. There was this amazing quarry. I'm not going to say what it was for, but they found this amazing... I didn't actually go. You guys went. Maybe you should talk about it, but there's an amazing, massive quarry that we filmed this big sequence in. This year as well is the first time, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're taking the Viking ship out on the ocean, the Irish Sea. Usually before we've had it in a car park with a green screen on a gimbal. And on a lake on still water, but it's actually on Monday, isn't it? We fly back Sunday, and on Monday we're going out in the ocean. We're all a bit terrified.
That is very exciting, though, that those are seaworthy. You can actually take them out in the ocean. Yeah. That's incredible.
We'll have more ships this year as well. We've got a lot more ships.
More ships.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys out on the water a lot, quite a bit. More raiding, correct? A lot of raiding. I mean, Ragnar is allied with someone who's much stronger now. He has more resources, right, Travis?
Yeah, that's all. The monk is so funny. Yeah, no, we've been very lucky. We have a lot more boats this year, and there'll be a lot more ocean sailing, which we're all excited for, except for the monk. No, the scale of stuff has really evolved this year. And the show is just going to get better and better, and I'm very excited.
Well, I know the audience is excited to ask some questions. So I know we have some audience questions. So when it's your turn to come up to the mic, if you could just let us know your name, and then let us know who the question is for. We can't wait to hear from you.